Yo. Welcome to FKU Africa Podcast. Yeah, this is your host here, Maneza F8, coming to you live here in the Western Cape, in good old Cape Town, South Africa. I hope you all have been missing me. I had a last episode with my brother, Isain from Ghana, where we talk all things have to do with estates and all that. I hope you did enjoy that episode. That was really um, inspiring. I hope you are inspired to, even if you're not here from here in Africa, or in any of these countries who are here in Africa, you did manage to enjoy and really consider coming and invest here in Africa. As the brother and me, we were discussing some issues that may cause one not to come and invest because of we are having difficulties with the government. We're also having difficulties with corruptions and all that. But we did mention, uh, I did mention that me and him, that there's a lot that we can overcome if we if we actually work together, not work against each other. So that's very much important. Today it's the same thing. I'm working on giving you that are interesting to me, also interesting to you guys. So if the guests are interesting to you, they will be also interesting to me. So now I have another guest now, all the way from Dallas, Texas, in the USA. She was struggling a little bit with internet. So while she was struggling, I was introducing her. She's an author. A number of books that she's working on. She has released a children's book. She's also involved in another book, inspiration books that we're going to talk about. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this episode. There's a lot of these that I'm bringing. I hope you did enjoy the last one with my brother Asen from Ghana, where we were discussing real estate from sisters and brothers who are abroad and also who are in diaspora, London, USA, Caribbeans, or wherever. So without wasting any time, let's introduce our queen, Frenchaire Gardner. How you doing?
Hey, Maneza. I'm great. How are you today? Thanks for having me.
I'm very good. Very, very good. You're looking good now. The internet is very sharp and clean. Thanks for fixing that and making sure that is working good. Please greet the brothers and sisters from here in Africa and also in diaspora, and tell them about you.
Well, thank you so much, Maneza. My name again is Frenchaire Gardner. I reign from Dallas, Texas. I've spent quite a considerable time in St. Louis, Missouri as well, but I moved back here to Dallas, Texas, my hometown, to take care of my mama. And I am a graduate of Southern Methodist University here in Dallas, Texas. I am an author of several different books and projects, and I just love people and I love just giving back. And as you can see, my podcast banner behind me, a News You Can Use podcast. Check it out.
Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I hope your mother is well. I hope she gonna get better, and
Thank
allow you to go back to Missouri if something needs you there, or you are happy there in Texas for
Here every
now.
day. But I just went back to St. Louis last weekend.
Oh, oh yeah, hey, yeah. Last week we were supposed to get to do this last week, and you were going to a funeral
Mhm.
in Missouri. So I hope that went okay. Condolences,
Yeah,
of course.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Let's go straight to the children's book. Tell me a little bit about that. What is it about, and what can we take when we are teaching our kids about it?
Okay, thank you. So, my children's book is an award-winning children's book. It's called "Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore?"
Wow. Wow.
Uh,
Wonderful.
yes, it is an award-winning book. The book is a love letter to my four children: Joseph Jr., Frenchaire 2, Melchizedek, and
Uh,
Sarai. Maneza, in December of
wow.
2019, I from a vivid dream where
Mm.
my one of my peers was telling me that I had not done enough to let my children know that I still love them. We are
Wow.
estranged. My children have been adopted for the last 7 or 8 years, and so I'm
Mm.
not able see them or I'm not able to talk to them. And so this dream really pushed me to write this book. So the next day after I had the dream, which I usually don't even remember my dreams, but this
Uh,
stood out to me, and I woke up and the next day and I wrote the book, Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore? And I wrote the first edition, and I published it the same day under my brand BNS LLC. And
that's
it was great.
amazing.
I put it as an ebook. And then a couple of years later, I collaborated with my good friend Dell Chambers. She's an amazing visual artist, and she did the illustrations for Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore?
Mm.
And so that birthed out the second edition of Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore? Which is now a paperback and on Kindle, Amazon Kindle, as well as an ebook. And at this point, I have
Wow.
produced an audiobook for the book. So an audiobook is available for the book, and also the book is available in Spanish.
Wow. That's amazing. That's
Thank
really amazing. I like the fact that you wrote this book. You were sort of forced to write it. It just came to you, and it's something that you wrote
Yes.
in the same day, and you published it yourself in the first day, and it took so much, so many months and years to make sure that it's coming out to light for everyone to consume it. I'm sure during that time you went in multiple schools reading it to the kids. How was the reception for it?
The children really love the book. Any of the children I've met, or even adults who have
Yeah.
adoption or foster care, they really can relate to the book. I found that a lot of children and adults uh, are not don't know where they stand with their parents, because due to the system and being separated from their parents. And so this
Mm.
book is a reminder to them, and sharing a bit of hope to any
Yeah.
foster any child that are adults that experience the foster care experience and the adoption system.
Also, in your side, the kids were adopted by someone, were living with someone else, your biological kids, or you are raising kids that you adopted yourself. What is the situation there?
My actual biological children have been adopted. I've lost them, and they've actually been adopted by another family in another state.
Okay, okay, I see. Okay, so now you are writing to them and just trying to pour your heart out and explain how you love them and all that.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Have you managed to get in touch with them? Have they read the book yet?
I don't think they've read the book. I did send my
Uh,
oldest children the Kindle version, but I don't think they've read the book. I talk to my oldest son every now and then, And so he does know about the book, but he's never read it yet.
Okay. Hopefully, you will read it, and he will be enlightened and fall in love with it, like everyone else who has read it. So now you are also telling me that it's available also on audio, on audiobook, on Edible.
And my other book.
Yeah, the children's one is also available on audio.
Oh yes, it is. I collaborated with Angie B Productions, and that's her thing. And so she created an audiobook for me.
It's also available on Amazon. I can go in there and just get it on Amazon.
No, you'd have to buy the audiobook on my website.
Oh, okay. It's also there. So after this, you will share the website with me so that I can put it on the description for the people to check it out and also buy the audiobook or also buy the other books so that we
Okay.
can support you. Uh, yeah, yeah. Please do that. Okay, now we can a little bit talk about the other book that you wrote. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I am a part of a collaboration of authors called and this project was spearheaded by the lady named Vanessa Blackwell, and she got 90 authors together to write Finding Joy in the Journey Volume 2, Healthy Ways of Finding Joy During Difficult Times. It's a 90-day devotional. And so 90
Mhm.
authors, including myself, each wrote a chapter about our experiences and how we encourage others to find joy during their journeys. And it's a very good book. It's actually a number one Amazon bestseller. And my chapter is called Tools of Joy. And in my chapter, I list
Okay.
several different ways that you can find joy during the journey. And yeah, I think it's a great book to help you with when you're in trouble times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. So when was this the other book released? The second one?
Yes, Finding Joy in the Journey Volume 2 was published the summer of 2021.
Finding joy, finding joy in the journey.
Yes.
That's the name. Okay, I need to check that out. It sounds really interesting. Sounds like something I can really enjoy. Uh, with this one, you said you only wrote one chapter. Said collective book and it's different chapters, different perspective. So I'm sure that's why it's number one bestseller now because there's a variety of opinions, variety of pushing marketing because you're pushing it on your side. Other 90 people are pushing on their sides. How thick is the book now with 90 authors?
So that's a good question. There are there are about 200 pages.
Well, okay, at least I was expecting a little bit more, but that's a quite good number for me. I can get around it in a week or two, uh, considering how busy I can get. Uh, uh, so, what did you actually go into in your in? Let's talk about your chapter. I'm sure you know more about your chapter. So, what was your experience, and what did you write about really in your chapter in this book?
Sure. So my experience was pretty fun writing the chapter. It was a different experience than writing my children's book. I had a
Mm,
deadline and so I had time, I had to focus my energies on this
mm.
one chapter. So I wrote my chapter title is called Tools of Joy. It's on page
Tools of
68.
joy.
And
Mm.
let me see. So I write, can I read it?
Yeah, yeah, please do.
Okay, so joy. It says what you focus on you create into your reality. Write down your dreams, goals, and ideas and places you want to visit. Smile more. Meditate to still your mind at least once a day. Play upbeat music and dance. Laugh. Appreciate the time you spend with family and friends. Remember that this life is so fleeting and our time will come when we transcend these bodies. It says there's a reference that too much won't be put on you than you can bear. Well, this bear on me is huge. Assaulted, sexually molested by a parent, and daily battles with bipolar depression. The worst of the trauma, separation from my four biological children, Joseph Jr., Frenchaire 2, Melchizedek, and Sarai. I can talk to and touch everyone else in the world but my children. No matter what is happening in our lives from moment to moment, we can choose joy, relax, and know that you are supported by our ancestors and the universe, which means everything gonna be all right, man.
Yeah,
So
man. Yeah, man.
that's part of the chapter.
Wow. Wow, that's really inspiring. Finding joy. So it's really inspiring. I like the takes from the book, and also the way that it's really inspiring, trying to give us sort of a motivation to go through whatever you might be going through. It can be financial situations, it can be emotional situations with family like you. It's just a way of finding joy and just moving on, and just try to live your life and as it comes. So it's really quite touching. I'm sure I need to get into that. So this one I can get the audiobook on Amazon, right?
Yes, the book is Finding Joy in the Journey, Volume 2 is available on Amazon, and it's also available on my website, which is on my name tag bit.ly/ Frenchy Books.
Yeah, nice, nice. We're going to get that. We're going to put that on the description. Everyone is going to get into it and just view your book and all that. So, what else are you working on besides these two books?
So I have three other books that I have worked on. So the third book project that I was a part of is called, it's an audiobook series, and it is called The Single Save Struggle. The Struggle Continues. And the same person who produced my audiobook, she produced this collaboration. It's about eight uh authors. We all tell our stories about the our pandemic stories. So how what
Um,
our experiences we've been having since the coronavirus 19 pandemic has breaking out, and it's a very interesting story. I talk about, you know, what I went through, like, just not wanting to be isolated during
yeah,
um the time
which
when
most of yeah,
the
which most of us were at that time.
yeah, I didn't want to stay in the house. So I did a lot of gig work, and I was always outside. I didn't like staying inside. Don't put me in the house like a caged bird.
Yeah, none of us wanted that. None of us. It was very frustrating for me because I was working from home, so I had no other way but to just stay and keep on working. So it's good for you that you had something to do outside. I had nothing to do outside. If I had to work, I was working in the house.
Oh wow.
All I had to do was just stay in the house and do my work in the house. So what kind of activities were you doing during that time?
I was doing gig work, like delivering food for Uber,
Oh,
DoorDash, and Postmates, and I deliver groceries for Instacart, and so I was out there. I was
so
out
you were
there
out
delivering
there.
and helping
What
people.
what do they call those people who are always out there? Essential worker. What is it? Essential.
They call
What is?
it gig work, ride share,
Mm,
delivery person. Yeah.
mm. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. I wish I was one of those. If I was not a little bit scared of catching a COVID, so you never really catch it during those kind of activities you're doing.
No, I stayed well. I thank my ancestors because I was out there. I did wear my mask. I was wearing my mask pretty regularly and pretty heavily, putting gloves on when I go shopping. Not wanting to
Wow.
touch anything. But that's one of the things I did. But you asked me, what projects have I been working on? So I have two new books coming out. I'm
Okay.
a part of two different anthologies. Let me see if I can think of the name. I don't know the name of one of them, but uh, one I just
What is the concept of it at least?
right. So we are finishing up the and getting ready to publish, and it's going to be an international anthology, and it's called
Okay.
Gold Nuggets for
It's
Entrepreneurs.
called?
And so this lady that I met on the internet, like I met you on Facebook, we were on each other's podcast back in 2020. And this
Mm.
year she decided to write a book, and well, write another book, but it's a collaboration book. Her name is Vicky Esther Chang. She's from Singapore, and she had
Wow.
I wrote a chapter called Black Businesses, Black Economics, and I talk about the history of Black businesses here in America, and then
Mm.
I talk about some of the challenges that us BIPOC, Black and Black BIPOC business owners that we experience here in America. I
Oh.
also, going beyond that, for any person that is in business, I wrote about a lot of resources and strategies for starting your business. I talk about writing, creating a business plan, creating a marketing strategy, having ways to build funds for your business, making sure you get a mentor, doing research before you put your products out. So I talk about a lot of different
Mm.
tools
Mm.
to
Mm.
for success in business.
That's
So
amazing.
thank you. So that's going to be coming out at the end of the year. That'll be published at the end of the year. It's called Gold Nuggets for
Which
Entrepreneurs.
year?
And then
Which
I
year?
literally this
This
week just
year.
writing another chapter for a book. It's kind of going to be it's also a business book, but it's going to be like like chicken noodle soup for the soul, but it's for business. It's talking about
Mm.
have average Joe business owners talking about their experiences as a business owner. So I lay out
Wow.
all of the different businesses I've gone through since 2015, and just talking about my adventures of being a landlord in St. Louis, Missouri. That was nuts.
Oh.
And my insurance business, and how I used to sell Nigerian shea butter, and I used to whip it up. And so I've done all kinds of business ventures, and so I'm talking about that in the chapter as well.
Yeah, can you touch a little bit about those? Let's go back to the other one that you're talking about, the history of black businesses there
Okay.
in the United States. Can you brief us a little bit about that history? What can you really tell us about it?
Sure. So what I shared in Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs is that blacks in America have been doing business from the time we got here. We've been bartering, we've been setting up ways to help each other. And so
Mm,
we've been in business forever. And but back in that time, it was a struggle, reconstruction era. It was a
mm,
struggle for us to have businesses because of racism and oppression and all the different situations that we found ourselves in. But we would thrive anyway. I think that's something about us melanated and African people. We know how to thrive no matter
Yeah,
what, no matter what the situation is. We know
that's
how to
us.
thrive and thrive. So that's kind of what I speak about in the book.
That's what that's wonderful. You mentioned on the other one that you mentioned with the noodles and stuff. You mentioned that you've been busy with a number of businesses, um, uh, from being a landlord, selling Nigerian stuff, insurances, and all that. What is the most successful business that you have ever been on? And what was the downfall of it if it's now no longer existing?
I would say when I was in the insurance business, I was really good. I was
Uh,
good. Manasa, I
mm,
really enjoyed getting out with the people. Like that
yeah,
was
yeah,
my whole thing. Like everybody in St. Louis, Missouri knew that I was the insurance lady because I was always passing out my cards. I always tell
mm,
people you need to get some insurance. And at that time, I was selling all types of insurance, but specifically life insurance. But I was also selling auto and home, just business insurance, just any type of insurance that you need
mm,
as a person and or as a business owner. I was selling it, and it was just my passion. Like I was always talking about it. Cause I feel like a lot of people, like even with your car insurance, they don't even know what
mm.
they have. So
Yeah,
I
we
tell a lot.
don't. We really don't.
Right, right. You don't even know what the coverages are, or what they're for.
We
So
don't. We
I
really don't. As long as you're saying it's count is what is it called? What is the one that is involve everything comprehensive? You say it's comprehensive. That's all
yeah,
for me.
comprehensive and collision. So I spent a lot of time, talking about, getting insurance and especially life insurance. And I talked to a lot of families over the course of time. I'm not in the insurance business anymore, but it
Mm.
was my passion at the time to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure we were protected. Because I'm just be honest, white people know about life insurance. White people have
yeah.
been
They do
getting the life insurance and
forever.
leaving legacies for
Mm,
their progeny. But we don't know it. We don't do it. We don't spend the money. We don't pay now so that there's a greater cost in the future. So that was
mm,
really my passion, to let people know that you get you some insurance, protect your families, make sure that your children are protected. Don't leave your kids with no money, you know. So that's that's what I was really into back in the day. And like you said, I was a landlord. That was a crazy experience. I hated being a landlord, Manasa. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
the complaints and all that, I can imagine. Yeah, maintenance and all that every day, different complaints. You're fixing this. This one is broken. I understand. But people are saying that business is thriving. I guess you need to outsource it to agencies for you to get a peace of mind, so they
I
can deal with the tenants.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I believe, like, in hindsight, since now I've experienced it, I would definitely, recommend getting a property manager. Don't do that work by yourself.
Yeah,
Get a
yeah,
property. Too much
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it should be. So uh, this is the last book that you are working on, the one that talks about the businesses that you've been on with the ladies from Singapore. That is coming up at the end of this year or next year.
It'll come out the end of this year. So I have two books
Wow,
coming out this
this year is already ending. When
year.
is it
Well,
coming?
next year. Next year, Manessa. You're
So
right.
next year,
So I imagine
this
it's
year
gonna
is
come out.
over. This year is
Right.
over. So
You're right.
next year, end of next year.
Next year, sometime next year, probably. I don't know when. I don't know when, but it's coming. They're coming out.
Yeah, they must come. Your podcast, what is it about? I see that you have your podcast banner there behind. And you can use podcasts. Uh,
Yes.
let's talk about your podcast now.
Yeah, sure. A news you can use podcast. I started it back in 2019. I had no idea
Hmm.
what I was doing,
Me
and
too.
I it actually started Maneza just randomly. Like when I was in the insurance business, one of my
Mm.
girlfriends, she had suggested that I become a podcaster on YouTube and find myself as the expert in insurance. But I never did
Okay.
it. I never did it.
Mhm.
And but in 2019, in January of 2019, I went to this co-working space called Next Core in St. Louis, and I worked. I usually at that time was working from home, but they
Uh,
offered us free membership into their space for like a week.
okay.
So I
Okay.
went there and did some work, and then they had business classes in the evening. And so one of the classes was on podcasting. So I was curious. So I went
Mm.
to the class, and in Maneza, one of the first questions they asked me or asked the group was, "What is your podcast and what is it about?" But I didn't have a podcast at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have a podcast at the time, so I just made something up on the spot.
Mm.
So I said, "My
That's
podcast."
creative.
News you can use podcasts, and the goal would be to the premise was that mainstream media does not promote African and black businesses. They're not promoting the positivity that we are
Yes,
doing in the diaspora, impacting
very
community.
true.
So what I wanted to do on my podcast was show the positivity that is happening all across the diaspora. So I
Yeah.
would on my on so in the beginning episodes, I would go through my Facebook and Instagram pages and write down all of the events that I saw from my
Mm.
followers, and I would talk about events and all of the positive things that we're doing in the diaspora. And then
Yeah.
after about 6 months or a year or so, I transitioned into interviewing black and
Um,
business owners because I wanted to give them a platform to shine
mm.
because
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
doing amazing things in the world, but you just don't hear about it. So
Yeah.
that's what a News You Can Use podcast is about. It is about promoting black and brown business owners to the diaspora while also promoting the music of the positive music of us melanated artists. And you can stream
That's
it
what's
wherever you listen
up.
to podcasts.
So it's available in everywhere in all platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, all that is available and YouTube.
Yes. Well, it's not on YouTube, but it is available on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah, mine is also it's mostly on. I push mostly on my website. It's available on my website. That's where I push mostly. That's where I market. On YouTube, it just stays there. If you want to watch, you watch. I don't really push it on YouTube. I don't really care about YouTube. I care
Yeah.
about it on my. I care about bringing streamers on my website, also on Spotify, because on Spotify it's linked to my artist page. So whatever streams I get on Spotify, they get added on my artist streams and all that. So I'm also doing music on the side, and also so it's mixed there together. So that's nice about it. But mainly, I think what you should do also, because you get your stuff on your website, your books and all that. So most of the links should link to your website for your podcast, so that people when they are listening to your podcast, they can also browse and see your books and all the other things that you are doing. You see, so that's something that you should look into, because I find out working on your own stuff, other than promoting these other people's stuff like your Spotify, but Spotify is not ours. So it's mostly good for us as black people to have our own platforms, because Spotify can be shut down anytime. They can revoke you anytime. They can say that your content is discriminatory or whatsoever. So I really highly push the idea of creating your own streaming site. Also, people who need helps on that, I do help a lot of people doing their website. And if you already have your website, and connect your streaming to your website, especially if the WordPress website is really easy to turn it into a streaming website. So I really uh, push that. Make sure that your staff are on your website. Push your own work. Push your own website. Bring the followers to your website, and then Google will take care of you.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned that you also the push music and events that are happening in all over diaspora. So in your website, what are the most exciting guests have you ever had in the past, let's say, 6 months?
I
That
haven't
that
even
maybe
I
that
haven't
maybe
even
my people
podcast
can maybe
this
my
year.
people can just go and check them.
This year podcasting has slowed down for me. I started a new job at the beginning of the year, so it really has taken a
Oh,
lot of my energy. I've actually published like 3 episodes this year for the podcast. Didn't interview anybody, but I say the
okay.
most interesting in the past, my most interesting guest would be let me think. I had a millionaire on my podcast once named
Wow.
Charity, and that was an interesting episode because she was talking about how she made her money. Um,
Wow.
that was a good one. Another good one, Maneza, is it's called like polygamy. It's about polygamy, and I had
Mm.
a guest, Richard Young on, and he was talking about his book where he's suggesting it's an essay where he's suggesting that polygamy is the way for families to survive. That one was a good one. That one was a really good one because it was very
That
controversial.
that's interesting.
How often are you getting somebody to suggest that polygamy is the way for families to succeed? But he had like a 30-page book, um
Mm.
uh that
Talking
that
about it.
goes into the his points on why he feels that polygamy is the way for a family to survive in these times. That was a really good one. um
Interesting.
let me see what else. I think those are my two favorites.
Nah, that when you talk about those kind of things, those sort of things that people from other cultures, they look down on those kind of things. So it's a very sore subject to tackle, because other people will not really understand the implications. Like if you are, c- let's say in my culture, there are people who are born into that kind of situation, polydrama, where even my grandmother, she was born in that. She was coming from the second wife. That situation is really had the good and the bad things about it, because there's a lot of resentment that goes around with two different families. When the kids are growing up, there's favoritism from the parents, favoritism from the father. If you are really not, let's say you are not experiencing it, you are not coming from the history of it, it would really cause too much strain for the kids. So it's a really sore subject to tackle. It needs its own podcast to tackle that, because it's a lot of impact on that. So it's sorry, it's kind of our culture go into that, but you need to qualify to do that. You need to make sure that you can afford the first wife first. She's taken care of. She doesn't need anything. Now, then you can go to the second wife and make sure that no one complains. Everyone is sorted out. That stuff needs to be monitored by kings and all that, so that making sure that there's no wife is feeling less attention than other. So it's a delicate situation from our side to tackle, but other people will not understand. They will see it as barbaric and people because mostly in USA, in your side, it's really associated with those people who have cults and these dodgy churches and all that stuff. That's how is it associated in the States. So it's not the same on our side. It's a practiced tradition that has been going on for years and years.
Exactly what he says, what Richard says in the interview. He really talks about how it helps with the economics to have these three
Mhm.
families, these three people together working together. Then he also says that there's more hands on for the children, so there's more people watching the children. So
Mm.
and so he talked about it from the economics point of it, that there's more money coming into the house with the polygamy relationships, and also that there were more eyes on the children.
Uh, that can be debated because with that situation, mostly there would be favorism. Him himself, he would be keen to be on the other wife more than the other because of some specific. We are people, and we will always have preferences. So maybe you would prepare the other wife because maybe she talk less or she cooks nice or stuff like that. And then now the other kids will be complaining on the other side. You see, so that can be debatable, but he is right when it comes to financial incentives because it really gives a good structure for especially if he is the one that is making all the money and the wives are assisting, of course. So which means the family now is getting three times salaries, which is good, multiple streams, which is good. But now it's really frowned upon now, especially in the schools where we take our kids now to, because it's being dominated by the West. So they are taking those ideologies and making them seem like they are demonic. So if you are at school and now you're saying that your dad and that other kids, you're sharing the same dad, but you're not sharing the same mother, but you are all married, it's going to be confusing for kids. They are all married together, but your dad's got two wives, and then the other white kids are gonna call it barbaric and all that. So the kids will grow up inferior and confused. So yeah, we are in this situation. So you just need to explain to the kids what is going on and tell them that this is your culture. People have their own culture, so you need to understand. That's all. So yeah, I understand that. The other thing that I needed to ask you was the T-shirt that I saw you wearing. Brothers, not niggas. Can you brief me about that? What is it about? That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes, I decided to wear this shirt today. One of my peers from St. Louis, Glenn Avery Muhammad, he actually this is his brand, and on the back it says sisters not bitches. So
Wow.
brothers not niggas, sisters not bitches.
Oh,
And so
yes.
it's all about being positive. It really
Mm,
is about having the right self-talk, and
mm.
knowing that words are powerful.
It
So
really starts
therefore,
there. Yeah.
if you can, I think I love the shirt and the brand, because it was like, oh wow, brothers not niggas. Well, I like
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
I prefer
Yeah.
brothers to niggas. So
Yeah.
I
Me
just thought it
too.
was a great concept.
Me too. It's really nice because yeah, it's something that I've been looking into while we're talking, trying to understand what is really maybe say it's an organization or something that is helping out something. So because it's really a good a positive message. Yeah, trying because they say that whatever you say by your tongue can heal or can destroy. So if you are calling yourself a nigger instead of a brother, you tend to do a nigger things. If you call yourself a brother,
Exactly.
uh, if you call yourself a brother instead of a nigger, you tend to do a brother's things. So yeah, that's a positive message that I like. I really like that. I hope you get to spread more of that message because a positivity is really needed amongst us as Africans because we're really lacking when it comes to positivity because if you, especially you as a black person in America, you understand the kind of situations that are happening. We see them throughout uh, uh, the news all the time. Brothers being shot, brothers being killed for no reason, and all this kind of thing. Not only brothers and sisters. It's happening throughout America. So, what is your take on that? What is the? Have you been involved in any organization that is dealing with those kind of things, shootings and stuff?
I have not. I'm honestly, since I moved back here to to Dallas, Texas, and since the summer of 2019, I haven't been involved in anything. I kind of just been doing my own thing. But when I was in
Mm.
St. Louis, Missouri, I was very active. I was an activist, and I was very
Yeah,
active in these. Cause I just think that it's important to support each other. So
really.
that's basically was my work, was that I would support you. If you had
Mm.
an event, as a black or brown business owner, if you had an event, I was there. And
Mm.
if your brand was positive and had a good message, I was there to support you. So I really just believe in the practice of just being there for people, because
Yeah,
if you show up for people, that makes a difference.
yeah. We're going to go to the end of this podcast now. Let's just go back to the children's book. You said the children's book. People can get it on your website, also on Amazon. Something that you mentioned that you had someone that assisted you, and now it's on Amazon, right? What are some of the things that we can take out of that book?
Sure. So, mommy and daddy, do you still love me anymore? Is It's a love letter. It's a love letter to
Mm,
my four children: Joseph Jr., Frenchaire 2, and Melchizedek. Universally, though, Maneza, the book is to encourage children and
correct.
adults to remind them that their
Mm,
biological parents still love them. Because I think that a lot of times, but based on the situations when the kids get separated from their parents,
mm,
they think that their parents don't love them. They
yeah,
believe they've been abandoned. And so
yeah.
I wanted to write something to encourage them, to let them know, no, mommy and daddy still love you. Mommy and daddy is still
Mm,
thinking about you. You might not be able to see mommy and daddy, but mommy and
mm.
daddy are still thinking about you. We
Thinking
miss you.
about.
We love you. We care about you. And that's really the takeaway from the story.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, you see, I've worked also in prison throughout my years.
Really?
I worked, yeah, I worked in correctional center for 7 years. I was a warden for 7 years.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I would see the kids in the juvenile centers. Um, the way that they would talk about their parents. You see, most of the time, you would find that most of the kids, their parents are also into drugs, so they don't tend to come and visit them mostly. So they would be resentful and be suicidal and thinking that they're not loved and all that. So one of the things that we would do, we would go out, try to do a family uh, uh, what is it? I forgot the name, but we would reach out to the families and clean them, make sure that their mothers do come and visit them, so that they can give them hope, so that they can leave the gangs. Because what the main things was the gangs that they were forcing them to come to prison. So we would build structures outside for the mothers, clean them, take them to rehab, get them the jobs, so that when the kids are coming back from the juvenile center, that they would come to a warm house where the mother is providing essentials like food, clothes for school, so that they would get out of the gangs. That was really a good program that we had, and it was really helping out. So I understand what you are saying, that the kids that are in the system, it's to them it seems like their parents really don't care, but most of the time their parents are going through hardships as well. Also, they are trying to survive. Some they are uh, deeply involved with drugs. Some they are in prison. Some they are fighting for their lives in the streets, and all that. There's a lot that is going on. So the books like these are very much helpful for kids who are in that situation. So it's really a good thing that you did that, and you did it in your sole purpose of reaching out to your kids, but now it's reaching out to the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I really appreciate you coming to the podcast. It was really nice talking to you. I hope we do this again when the other books are coming out. You contact me, and then we can promote those books. Can talk more about it, and then you can give me a copy so that I can talk about something that I've read, so that I can quote and go through some of the stuff that are in the book.
I love that. I'd have to. I'll get your address. I'll send some. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, guys. Please check out the link in the description for Frenchaire in his website, in her website. Uh, uh, you can get all the books. The other book, it's on Amazon. It's a number one seller. You can check out the book. Is there. Thank you very much for watching. Fikiria kwa undani ndugu. Tamaku.